Well, that's good. I know it takes a bit for get the money and all that stuff, but having a place, I mean, it's wrestling. It's almost kind of like, hey, let's talk to AD and hey, let's get it on the schedule. We'll find kids.
I don't think they'd have a problem at least putting together a small team. I mean, you
Yeah,
might not be able to run a freshman JV and varsity
varsity,
team.
but I mean, even if you had a varsity team all freshmen, at least you have a varsity team. I mean, they might get their butts handed to them, but at least they're wrestling.
Oof, that definitely shows some red on the speed for OBS. I don't know what it's going to look like online.
I was watching last week's episode. There was a lot of
Just dead.
echo. A lot of echo.
The reason you had that was for the same reason as right now. I wasn't wearing my headphones last week, so I have to have headphones on. Otherwise, you get echo because my speakers put it out and then my microphone picks it back up. So let me get those turned on.
I don't judge you by your internet speed.
I have really begun to I don't want to use the word hate. That's me. Start Bluetooth. But pressure evoke. Can I?
Gonna have to find time, James, to get down here and check out my garage, bud.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of hoping we'd play Linton in basketball, but
Their schedule's jacked up this year because a lot of the tournaments that they were scheduled to play in last year,
yeah,
with Hart going to Kentucky this year and stuff, they weren't invited back to a lot of them. So they only had a half a schedule, and at the last minute, he's having to try to fill in, and they're short. They don't even have a full season scheduled.
really.
Yep.
Why is this?
That sounds like it's an athletic director issue.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's crazy.
All right, and you guys can still hear me.
Do you guys have a C team as well? What they call the C team?
They do, but like the schools that we're scheduled to play don't have C teams, so they're not really playing.
Yeah.
So like when we played Clay City the other night, Clay City didn't have a C team.
Really?
So
Alrighty. Just making a note on the session in this last minute.
is that your music, Sean?
I do not have music playing. There may be, if you're listening to it on Twitch, the opening may have music that I have muted on my end.
I muted it.
Yeah, intro has music with it.
Yeah, I hit mute. I didn't realize I had it unmuted.
Yeah, so what you were doing was you were listening to your Twitch, which would have created a massive echo in yours while we played, because Twitch would be playing audio. And again, I actually love having, I don't have my music turned on right now, my Sirenscape, I kind of wish I did, but time in the day. I need one of you guys to get a computer and do that for me. Speaking of which, we're looking forward to when we actually get over there with our computer and whatnot. And everything going. Oh man, plans for the move. Hey everybody, welcome to Plot Points Gaming. We're glad to be here with you all tonight. We are playing on our phone, so right now it's flashing green at me on OBS, but I know our last over almost 2 months here on the island of Guam, we've had such horrific internet where I'm located that, as you all know, we have that warning we are experiencing slow internet. I think tonight I might be able to turn that off. At least it's looking green right now, but if anybody tunes in and sees otherwise, let me know. So welcome to Plot Points Gaming. Thank you for being here tonight. I'm Sean, your host, and I have an opportunity to play with some of the most wonderful players on the internet. Those at our virtual table, John, James, and Brock, and you if you're watching online. So welcome and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm going to turn it over to John and let him start us off by saying hello to y'all, and we'll kick it off. Take it away, John.
Evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm John, also known as Wolf's Dad, and I play the Tiefling Warlock Zestron, who is currently hiding in the Infernal Machine, trying to figure out how we're going to get everyone out of there with the book. Over to you, James.
First of all, Sean, on the overlay for Twitch, I have you in Zestron's place.
Oh yeah, I forgot to move the
camera.
cameras all around, so
Okay.
Yep, I'll drop you a plot point for that.
All right.
I did not. I was so busy doing everything else, I did not even think about who was in what place. Oh.
All right. So,
boom.
hi, I'm James. I play Benrin Bloodrest, the Hildorf cleric, brother to Torstein. And yeah, it's pretty grim right now. I mean, there might be some hope, but I'm down to 6 HP, so in the middle of a field of scarecrows and with a granny who kicks some butt. So let's see what happens with my brother and the warlock, and see what's in store tonight. Over to you, Brock.
All right, welcome everybody. I'm Brock. I'll be playing Torstein Stonecrusher, the Dwarf Fighter. I am currently rolling death saves because we had a bad week last week. Who knows where this week will go? We may be rolling a new character this week. Who knows? We'll find out. You'll find out with us. Thank you for joining us, tuning in. And here we go.
So we did leave off, as the team just told you, with a exciting week last week. We picked fights. We had a good time. And things unfolded. And almost too well. While we had bad rolls, literally at one point Brock playing his character was just like, bring it on, Baba Lysaga. He's out there on his own and he's like, shit's going down well. I mean, they had taken off at one point, come back, and then all of a sudden, not just bad rolls, but stuff started to unfold as she said, all right, yeah, we're done with this. We're actually going to start using our actions. Everybody's in range, and area of effect spells. Lightning Storm came down. All her minions came in that had been summoned like a minute before in game time. Probably 45 minutes of game time, actually, but in real world time, about a minute. As the scarecrows came in, and suddenly the players realized they were overwhelmed by 30 living scarecrows, some of which had started on fire because of the lightning that she called down. Players went down from the lightning, and that's when John, playing Zestron, called out to his warlock patron and said, Paxtra, I need your help. I'm calling on you. And I was like, dang, as a DM, I was like, we're going to be exploiting the clauses of her contract here, bringing some stuff in. And in game terms, what he did was he spent money on a mysterious stranger. And for those of you watching online, you saw I took the MS there from a 2 to a 1. That's to account for the mysterious stranger that was spent. And in our game, that plays out as unexpected help. Doesn't have to be explained in game. Anything else, the DM just has to provide help, giving the players a significant opportunity to either win a battle or escape a battle that they're losing. Something. Does not mean they have to win. Just means that you as the DM have to give some help. Thank you, Chic Geek. Super appreciate that cheer. Love you, love you, love you. You let me know, Sheik Geek, whether or not the sound is going well. Let us know in the chat because I'm streaming via my phone and I'm wondering whether or not I might be able to do this rather than even bring internet into the house that we're moving to in less than a month. We were going to bring internet there, and I thought, if I can stream via my phone, I might not even get internet. I might just continue to use my phone. So,
Cool.
why pay an extra bill when you're already poor, right? But she's saying it's good, so I'm actually going to take our internet warning offline right now because it's saying green on my OBS. But of course, I might not even have this computer with me. We're thinking about packing this up and shipping it back to Brock. So let's take it away. We're already 10 minutes into the game. So that's where we left off last week. Baba Lysaga has just called down this rain of fire. During the last battle, she started to transform, and they weren't sure whether it was a polymorph wearing off or a natural transition or part of the magic, but she became larger, more almost troll-like as her skin tones changed, as her shoulders widened out, her nose getting longer, her voice deeper, and Brock knew about the almost unkillable nature of trolls. His brother Benren had come out to try and help him. Leroy had tried helping him early on, but then he tried helping Leroy, and there was this kerfuffle back and forth. Currently, as in the last session, Torstein did chase off his living luggage, Leroy, which finally, took off, realizing its master or its owner would not let it save him. So the battle, and again, Torstein was like, I got this. But once the lightning rained down, Torstein went down as well. On top of this, Benren, who was not inside of a shielded metal vehicle, also took damage. Now, he did well and he stayed up. Zestrom was lucky. He was inside of an infernal war machine. And so he was immune from the damage of the lightning raining down around him. It did electrify the outside of the vehicle, but Zestrom being inside the vehicle wasn't grounded in any way, wasn't in any danger. It literally hit the vehicle, went to the earth, and guy lucked out. Maybe it was Paxtra answering his thing, but we're going to find out a little bit more about that today. Baba Lysaga is down on the ground. I do not have our initiative from last week. Do we want to roll in a fresh initiative? Let's see how your dice rolls are doing. There's a great way to test it. Let's roll a fresh initiative for this week. I like this idea.
Oh, yes. I am banging them out.
Okay. I see Benren. Okay, there's Ben.
Mighty 3. Mighty 3.
And I've got Torstein right there at the top.
Sean, I just want to interject.
Yes.
My Twitch says the channel is offline. I don't know if anybody else is getting that.
Well, I do know before it went offline, if it went offline, there was a DM drink that was purchased. So,
okay, well, why don't you hit refresh on it? Because I show that I'm streaming green.
Okay.
But if you hit refresh on your window, it might pop open your Twitch. And Shiki just replied that she's still in.
Okay. Well,
I'm still in. I think it's good.
Okay. It's got to be mine.
That's why we all help one another. I love it. Ooh, my bad blue dice actually rolled well, but it was only initiative, so we're happy there.
And just to test it out, there was another DM drink bought. And it is
second DM drink?
Hey, you guys do realize that he doesn't give out as many plot points anymore, so getting him drunk doesn't help.
What do you mean I don't give out as many plot points? Oh my god, you grubby little buggers. I'm telling you. I've never had such a grubby group.
You spoiled
We
us.
are none of the above, so.
That's it. All right, so there you go. Let's throw an extra one. No, that was bad. I literally just started writing down plot points for everybody, and I went right down the list, and all of a sudden I realized, I'm like, wait a second, that's John, and that's John's old character. John's suddenly getting double points. We're going to cross that out. Yep. You don't get double points.
I'm happy to take double points.
He's like, can I get Dax too, please? He's like, we didn't see Dak die. All right. Baba Lysaga has just called down this rain of lightning. She's on the ground. She did not go down from it. She knows the spells to cast. even though you saw Benren, some of the lightning strike on her, near her. You saw her hair stand on end, even as your brother falls to the ground. The scarecrows are rushing in towards you. Some of them have already started climbing on top of the infernal war machine. Benren, what's your initial reaction as you see your brother fall?
I scream, probably the deepest blood curdling war scream, and I just rage just overcomes me, and I charge at Baba Lysaga.
Ooh, you're just going, all right. He's got his character ready. His next character. So you go running in, sprint right over your brother. Yeah, we're just gonna cut to it, man. We don't have to be in initiative order for that. Did you take damage from the lightning?
No, I had made the save.
Okay.
Or no, I'm sorry. Yes, I did. I think it was half
Half,
damage or
right?
something like that.
Yep.
On the
Yeah,
save. Yeah.
because.
Yep.
All right. Cool. You go rushing in, man. Go ahead and make your attack swing as you come up. Zestra, you're watching this from inside in the doorway.
Oh
As you
my
see Benren
gosh.
scream. Rush forward, go leaping over, and literally as he goes running, man, he leaps over, clears his brother, swings with his warhammer, and Baba Lysaga does this jujitsu thing of grabbing him in his warhammer and throwing him to the side. So again, remember that misses can still hit people. You're just not doing damage, man. So he made a good solid hit. He's a war priest, not like he whiffed. Again, we're a teaching stream. Get hit and miss out of your mind that way. It's not about connection. It's just about whether you actually physically did some mental, emotional, or physical damage. That's it. So man, you connected well, and she turns it and twists it, rolling you back, putting you even farther away from the infernal war machine. She stands up, sees John in the doorway, motions with her hand, and the storm of scarecrows, which some of them were already on top, turn and start rushing in. She doesn't even care that Benren's out. She's already killed one dwarf. She's feeling good about it. And as she starts walking towards it, her back totally open to Benren as Benren gets back to his feet. The scarecrows are just coming in, and a voice booms from the side. It doesn't make the scarecrows hesitate, but it makes her hesitate. And as she does, her attention shifts. And the scarecrows pause. This booming sensation isn't loud. It's this booming. I'm sorry, I'm using contradictory words. Like when people say a deafening silence. This lightning, which had just crashed down, which was deafening in your ears, the burning of the fire, there's a silence suddenly. You don't hear the crackle of the fires of them anymore. And this voice, speaking clearly and enunciating, says, "Of course I recognized the lightning hedge witch. I knew it had to be you." And Baba's eyes open up, these dark black pools, turn and look towards him, and says, "You're supposed to be dead by now," the card said. He says, "Hedge magic. Of course it failed." He goes, "What I ever saw in you," and you see a man walking forward, his robes looking old, but in very good shape. A style, ancient, decades old, much like when you were looking at the various armors that you saw from the war over the last 100 years. But this guy seems older. His face, though, appears young-ish, as if a middle-aged man. Though you notice that his hair is gray, pulled down in a ponytail over one shoulder. He walks with a walking cane on his side as he starts coming forward. He says, "I sensed my stick." He goes, "I trust that you've kept it well." Baba sneers. And as she does, you start seeing the scarecrows, which were trying to get in before Zestran, start turning on this man. And they start going out slowly. Benren, you see this happening. For the moment, she's totally unaware of your brother at all. She has crossed by him as she was going to the infernal war machine. Her entire attention is focused on this man who you realize has cast, or there is an aura around him of magical silence. It seems to be muting the sounds of the atmosphere and the nature, yet, unlike regular silence, the voices can be heard. As the woman looks at him, raising herself up to her full height, and the man approaches, she goes, 1,000 years is not long enough, Casted Mirror. I thought Galifar had ended you for certain. And it's in that moment that you realize, Benren, you have an opportunity to try and grab your brother and jump onto this machine, or attack her from the background, side with this unknown person coming in, but we're honoring John's play of a mysterious stranger, and what has showed up.
I'm gonna
waving to try and get him to come on.
I'm going to ask for Torstein to make 2 rolls, because we had 1 roll where Benren went into attack, and then we had a dialogue for a second roll for him. And then we're going to have your responses, just to see where his death saves are at before Benren makes a choice.
So I'm making 2 death save rolls.
Please.
Okay, first one is a failure. And here comes the second. Oh,
he's down 2 fails. 1 more fail. He's it. So Benren, as a war priest, especially who's worked on the battlefields, you can assess that however you like.
Yeah, he's pretty screwed. But I'm gonna try and grab him, and I'm gonna yell really loud, "Leroy, get in the machine!" And I'm gonna take my brother and try and get him in there, and see if I can get him in there, and Leroy can run back.
You run up, you clear the distance to your brother. You realize quickly as you go to grab him that it will be iffy with the blood pouring out, with the fried area of him, the staggered gasping of breath, that you can either choose to take time and stabilize him here, possibly being noticed by this strange man and this woman, or you can try and carry him forward, but of course in game terms he'll be making another roll on a death save. Give your players tough decisions all the time. He's gambling with your life.
I'm trying to see.
Kicking him in the ribs and tell him to get up off the ground, you lazy ass.
Yeah. I'm gonna reach in my pack and pull out some duct tape and Windex. No. I'm actually going to try and stabilize him. I mean, he's my brother. I mean, he's pretty far gone. I'm gonna try and stabilize him.
Benren sits down inside. Go ahead and make a medicine check. Using, I'm assuming you have, of course, a healer's kit on your character. I believe you guys all had those.
Let me double
before you left.
Let me double check. I think I had one.
This is
I
why
have
I
a
don't
potion of healing. Would that work?
Drink next to me. I usually have a regular drink. I keep sipping it, and then I'm like, no, stop.
No, actually, I don't have a healer's kit. So
I
can't stabilize it.
You know that there's one in your brother's backpack. I'm just saying.
Yeah, sure. I'm searching everything to try and find a medicine pouch or a potion too.
No potions.
I don't know. Does he have a potion? According to my screen, you have a D4 potion on you.
Me or him?
Him. Torstein has a D4 healing potion on him. According to my screen.
Oh, I'm gonna take his potion and shove it down its throat.
I don't think he's in a position to argue it, and I don't think Brock as a player would mind me using that. Would you, Brock?
No, that's fine.
Yeah. Brock's a pretty cool player that way. So, moment later, you see this right where your brother's always got his little flask stashed, and you tip up the alcohol into his mouth, this thick, syrupy, potent smell, as it trickles over his lips, and you see his eyelids flutter as he staggers back just this side of death, able to get up wounded, black and blue, the smell of fried whiskers. Only somewhat better than the fact that your beer already got cut off by your brother and whatnot, But hey, at least he still got some beer, just a little smoking. As you help him to his feet and start staggering forward to the infernal war machine. From your left, because you took this time, somehow Leroy has heard you, and you see him as you start staggering towards the machine. Leroy come running up. Zestrin, while they're staggering towards you, what are you doing? Just waving them forward? The machine's not running right now, is it? I don't remember.
No, it's not running. It's
idling.
Basically idling.
Yeah.
I'm grabbing the book in the case.
Okay.
Sure, I have that on me, and I'm moving to the door to help them, or I'm moving back to the door to help them in. But I'm not going out. I'm trying to kind of be at the door for them, but not make it obvious that I have the book.
As Zestrin goes to welcome Benren and Torstein in, the conversation between Baba Lysaga and Castamir continues. Zestrin, you can hear it. Benren, you can hear it. Torstein, you can decide whether your ears are ringing or not. As Baba Lysaga challenges him, you find out that he's a former student of hers. And she goes, "You always were impetuous." He says, "And I thought you'd be dead by now, witch." She goes, "I am no witch, I am of the land. And you could no more kill me than kill this land." He looks around for a moment and he goes, "You call this life?" Now in the meantime, her scarecrows, which have surrounded him, you notice are closing the circle as Benren and Torstein get closer and closer to the war machine. He says, and Castamir looks at her, slowly, almost peacefully, this piece of wood that he's using as a walking stick. Next to him he says, "Fetch, Granny." He goes, "I want my things. I have a long way to go to get to the Abbey." Or, I'm sorry, not to the Abbey. I apologize. A long way to go to get to the shrine. She says, "It's not for you. It's been buried. You know those secrets weren't for you then, and they're not for you now." The man scoffs and says, "Galifar won't use them anymore, and any bargains he made are long since over." He says, "Look around you. What of his kin rules here anymore? Indeed, is Strahd even about? Do his kin even rule?" And the woman Granny laughs and says, "You have no idea who still rules. The ancient is here, and this land is far from dead." And as she does, the scarecrows start going in, and you see him move quickly, rapidly, swinging his stick out, not to strike at them, but as he does, magic trails off the end, creating this whirlwind around him. Suddenly, scarecrows are banging into one another. The fire that's on some of them are spreading between them, and scarecrow bodies begin to fly. Benra and Torstein, you're almost to the door when one goes crashing into the side of the war machine, gets hooked on one of the spikes sticking out, and shattered into bits of burning hay, cloth, and wood scattering down around you, almost causing one point of damage to each of you. Torstein, you don't go down on this. You're able to stagger in. I realize you only have 1 point from that 1d4, but you're going to get inside just fine. As you get inside, and Zestrin has the infernal war machine humming, Baba Lysaga and Castamir go at it, and you can hear the screaming just as from inside the door as Baba Lysaga starts to call down more of her elemental energy against this one who knew her clearly as both Granny and Master, somebody as old, according to them, of at least 1,000 years, the very reign of Galifar himself. What do you do?
I shut the damn door once I get inside.
So gonna say shut the door. I'm gonna get back into
I'm
the
throwing my brother in. Yeah, throw my brother in.
Does this thing have any type of guns in it?
It does, Buzz. Get out of here.
I'm waiting till Leroy gets in to shut the door. I want to clarify that.
Beauty. Zestra's yelling at you, close the door, close the door. You're like, not yet. In the meantime, Torstein, limping around, bloody as he is, barely able to walk, is like, isn't there a gun? You know, doesn't take long for
It's
Zestra
up there,
to say
brother.
there's one up
It's
top.
up there.
Yep, Benren's pointing.
Grab the
buying
lever
time,
and pull.
and Zestrin starts the Infernal War Machine moving forward. Leroy's not quite there yet as you see the hobbling, damaged, you know, thing moving not even at its normal speed. And normally it's not particularly quick. It's just luggage moving along on all its feet, trying to get there. As more lightning rains down, crackling over the outsides, the door being held open allows some of the scarecrows to try and get in. So let's see if any of them are able to get at you, Benren. That would be a nat 20. I need you to make a dexterity save for me.
Okay, dex save.
Yeah, you get 15
Oh yeah,
or
that's
14
a
or better.
fail.
You're there, and as these scarecrows start coming in, Zestra, you're strapped in now. You're all locked in. Torstein, you're climbing up a ladder in the back to get to the kind of outside of the vehicle where this cannon is. When Zestra, from the corner of your eye, you see Benren, who's trying to fend them off, get grabbed and pulled out and roll down the open door into the grass, even as you're rolling forward. He falls on top and in front of Leroy, who's there, bumbling, kind of going over him. As Torstein, you get to the top, and there's this massive double-handed cylinder in front of you and whatnot. I don't think you've ever owned or used guns before, have you? I have no idea.
I've seen war machines in battle. Personally,
so
I have
go ahead.
not.
Hey, if your brother can figure it out, I mean, come on. You know, you've seen his intelligence now.
Yeah.
Does it have like some type of periscope?
Right.
What type of visual does it have on it?
From what you can tell, there's just two spots that you're figuring are handles for your hand. And basically, you swing this thing around. There is no aiming system. Just look down the barrel towards wherever you want to go.
Okay.
There's no head mount system. There's no big circle. It's just you're looking down a big old tube with handles on it. They're built for devastation.
Okay.
They don't really care a whole lot about accuracy.
Well, I'm trying to, whoever this guy is that stepped in, I'm trying to help him out. So I'm going to try to distract her by firing behind her.
You launch into this thing. You have your handles, and as you feel it, you go ahead and make an intelligence check for me. Oh, and since you've now exposed yourself, you're on the outside of the vehicle with the scarecrows trying to get in. Let me roll for you. Nice.
That's a 16 on intelligence.
Beautiful. You're pretty sure you've got this thing down on how to maneuver it. You know, if you look down the tables, you're like, you can feel part of it seems to move, and it feels like it was made for hands much bigger than yours. But hey, you're a dwarf, man. You just spit out your fingers, and you're like, I can pull on this thing and make it go. Go ahead and aim in for behind her, even as these scarecrows are jumping up on top. One of them lands on top of the tube, jerking it forward in your hands, but you muscle it with your severe strength. As tired as you are, as exhausted as you are, you know.
What am I rolling?
With one hit point ready to go, aim in and give a blast.
Ooh.
A 4?
I got 4 hit points.
Oh, 4 hit points. Okay.
Yeah, because I rolled a 4, which then I got to roll again, which was the 1. That's why I had 5.
Oh, okay. I just saw the 1. And that is why I was like, I'm not taking that 1 away.
And then I lost 1, so I'm still at 4.
Cool. Yeah, that was like, I'm not having them just go up and down. That'd be a jerk DM thing to do. When players really do
16.
Never be a jerk DM. Never be a jerk. You roll. You haul this thing back just as the scarecrow's on top, and as you blow into it, Zestra, you're inside when you hear the scream of this. And I mean, it sounds like 1,000 people screaming at the same time as it rips part of the soul energy out of this one coin you found and blast forward with necrotic energy, turning the soul energy into ripping open the space-time continuum, and this yellowish green blast of tiny skulls and screaming souls rears out, ripping into the earth, blowing dirt everywhere, scattering over both Castamere, Baba Lysaga, throwing 3 or 4 of the scarecrows to the side as it rips away, burning up 25% of your soul coin in the process. I think that brings you down to about 50%. Am I not right, Zestron?
Yes.
Okay. So you're at about halfway on
And I
the
say,
soul
don't
coin.
fire that.
Go ahead.
I yell out, do not fire that again. We need the energy to get out of here.
We need to kill this witch.
We
Leroy needs to hurry the hell up.
get your brother in here and let's get out of here. We need to
Zestron,
get
you're
the
yelling out
book
the door, but there's nobody you can see out there because you were already rolling forward when Benren fell out in front of Leroy, going the opposite direction, trying to get to the door.
That's right, I didn't see him.
And Benren's yelling out, he just sees this thing get blasted right into the ground. Clearly, the guy can't aim as good as you, Benren. Your brother must need lessons from
right?
you. Yeah.
Yeah. I was smart enough not to fire.
Scattering dirt and debris, Benren, you're able to, as you fall out, get somewhat trampled by Leroy. You are somewhat running next to him as Leroy tries running at his slow speed, but you've got full sprint, man. You can do a dwarven 25 feet or 20 feet, whatever it is, double, I think it's 25. 50 feet, man. But Leroy can't, man. He can just hobble along. He doesn't have a dash speed.
Leroy's got 100 feet.
Leroy hasn't got no 100-foot movement. Oh, okay, that was worthy. Yep, that's a plot point. Okay. That was good. That was good. DM fell right into that one face first. He has 101 feet if we want to be accurate. Oh God, that's funny.
He should be outrunning Benren.
That's it.
Yeah, because I'm limping.
Yeah.
I'm hurting.
Zestron, you're in the cab alone. Torstein's up top. You got scarecrows coming in. Oh, speaking of which, the ones that ripped him out, you now have, because there were 3 that had made it to attack him. 2 of them pulled him out, but in the next round, while Torstein's firing and whatnot, and you've gained a little distance, the 3 of them have come inside with you. So now you're alone, strapped into the cockpit. 3 scarecrows that will be attacking you in a kind of strapped in prone position. Torstein up top, out the back, and Benren not with you. I feel that. I just wanted to get out of here. I feel that. Torstein, what do you got?
I don't know if we changed any settings or anything on that, but I pulled up his stats on there. It says he's got 50-foot speed.
That is absolutely incorrect. So I don't know what that is in there for. That 50 foot is absolutely incorrect. So we'll leave him at about 20 right now. 20, 25 right in there.
Okay. Just checking.
Yeah, because he was kind of built to be able to go with you walking, but he gets there in his own time. Slow and steady wins the luggage race. Maybe we'll give him a dash. I don't know. I'll rethink that. I'll probably.
Well, since I'm running faster, does he have a handle on the side
number
that I can pick him up?
He's a giant chest. He's like, what did we say? Like 4 feet long or?
Hey,
Brock has the
I was
dimensions.
just asking.
He's big. No, he's a big old moving luggage chest. He's a mimic, basically. He's big. You can stuff a body inside him. Remember?
Well, yeah, but she was
Body
small.
and treasure. Yeah, but the goblin wasn't. That big fat goblin.
Yeah, that's true.
Smetty may have been small, but that big fat goblin he brought to you and spit out right before Torstein decided to kill him too.
So do I see, as they're kind of pulling away and I'm running, do I see the scarecrows in the doorway that made it in?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Can I cast Eldritch Blast on their ass?
Sure.
Since I see they're inside.
Yeah,
I'm gonna cast.
If you miss too badly, though, we're gonna have some fun with the controls. We'd like to add an element of realism, so just do well.
All right. Well, yeah, we see my rolls already.
Hey, if we
Oh,
go down, at least it should be epic.
Oh,
And it truly
it's
is.
freaking epically bad.
These ones that you blast at, it rips through part of this hollow clothing with no body beneath it, burns a hole right through this coat that she has used on it, straight through into the copper tubings. It shatters the glass right in front of Zestron, who's there, as this eldritch energy launches into it, exploding part of the control panel, forcing that visual display that you'd use to be hanging at an angle and go completely dark. You're now operating in the blinded sense, this control system. And you go ahead and Benren, roll a 1d4 for damage to Zestron as the glass and stuff shatters at him. And I'm sure you won't get a 4, so we'll be safe.
Nope.
There you go. 1 point. Zestron,
yes,
you're good.
It came in handy.
That's it. See, you got to give people the opportunity to say low rolls can be good. So,
I'm good for that tonight, apparently.
Electricity coming in. Scarecrows on top of you. As the scarecrows attack you, they start ripping at you, pulling your hands, and the machine slows down because they're ripping at Zestron, trying to pull his arms off, attack at him. One of them's up around his head. The other two are at arms and legs, pulling him physically out of the controls, but it slows him down because as he pulls back, he isn't moving the machine the same way, giving Benren the chance to catch up. Torstein, you're up top. You've heard Zestron yell, don't fire the cannon, but hey, man, there's more scarecrows coming in. You can now see your brother Benren coming up. And behind you, the lightning show of this whirling energy around it. Scarecrows have been fended off, but you can also see Baba Lysaga calling down more lightning again. The clouds rumble, and bam, one huge bolt comes down and deflects off of this dome of energy. And you realizing you're watching two epic people battle it out, and the ground is starting to rumble and rise up around this tome at Baba Lysaga's command. She can control the very land itself.
I want to pull out a dagger and chuck it at one of the scarecrows that are on Zestron.
You would have to go back down inside to do that. You have gone up into a gunner's turret. Do you want to descend down inside the machine?
Okay, I'm gonna climb down then.
Cool. You back down the ladder. You're inside. You see the things there. Chuck your dagger well, and as you do, you don't need to even roll. You stick it right into the wood, and it looks over at you. Scarecrow's being immune to piercing. Looks at you. The face, somewhat lopsided. The painted-on smile. The eyes that actually don't move at all just because they're drawn there. Stares at you blankly, and then it starts moving directly for you in this rapid fashion, coming in for its own attack. But you quickly fend it off. You were prepared for something. You may be weak, man, but you know how to roll. You know how to move. And you've still got your armor on, man. Bam, bam. You deflect off of this thing, moving even in this small, confined compartment. Zestron, what do you want to do?
Well, I have one on me, and they basically have partially pulled me out of the controls, right?
Yes.
All right, then I'm going to take one hand and cast Eldritch Blast on whoever's the one closest on top of me.
Point blank, Eldritch Blast, roll for damage. You don't even have to roll to hit, man. This is a point blank. These are scarecrows, baby.
10.
As you do, literally, you blast into this thing with energy. It smokes and starts burning, filling the room with this stench as old fabric, and hay catches on fire right above you. You try to shove it to the side, part of it falling on Torstein, part of it falling to the ground. The fire is spreading to one of the other two that are still in here. The room having part of the steam come out from the controls, the copper tubing, it's filling with this acrid smoke, even as Torstein and Zestron fight. Benren, you start closing the distance. You're about 15 feet off from the door, and now you can see burning scarecrows. You can see smoke pouring out from the door. You catch just a part of Zestron's leg, and you can see up on top that your brother is no longer up in the gunner's turret. At this point, we're going to jump to the top of the round with Torstein. What do you do? After Torstein, we're going to jump.
Torstein's going to grab this daggone scarecrow that's by him and he's going to throw him out the door.
Boom. Go ahead and make a make an attack roll, man. Throw. This is just basic. Throwing uses your strength, as I recall. So go ahead and make a. I don't think you can really use your athletics for this one. So just go ahead and make a straight attack using your strength. Another DM might do it
22.
differently, but I think that's pretty fair. Bedred, you're just close. Like I said, you're 15 feet out when this one scarecrow comes flying out the door, being flung like you see your brother throw things before, and you just duck as it hits and bounces off of Leroy, rolling to the side, the 100 little legs going right over it as you charge in. A moment later, Leroy is right there. You can use Leroy as a step to vault in. Zestrin's trapped inside. Zestrin, you're up next. That was just free stuff for you, Benray. You'll take your turn in a moment. Zestrin.
I'm gonna Eldritch Blast the next one on me. Try and get him off.
Point blank, do damage. We'll keep consistent with that. It's more concerned with trying to rip you out.
5.
As you blast into this one, you realize now exactly what must have happened previously as you go right for its chest, but there was nothing behind the chest. This animated scarecrow was just wearing loose clothing over it, making it look like a body. It goes straight through, blasts into the controls, and the eldritch energy fries more of the control system. I'll make a secondary save for your machine. We'll see how it does. And depending on what it does, it failed. And the difference is a d6. So 3 points of damage. Both Torstein and you are in there, so each of you will take 3 damage from the exploding controls. And Benren, you're up in the door. Because Benren, you're bottom of the list. Lysaga and the Scarecrows get their actions. As the 2 Scarecrows left in here, the one continues to try and rip at your leg, Zestrin. And we're going to see, yeah, I love my baby blue. It's only a 6. It fails. It fails to get your leg out. The other one back on Torstein, who's at the back. Oh, good, he's not here. We're going to re-roll that later. That was a 19. We don't want to use that dice. Yeah, let's use a different dice. I like that. Scarecrow comes in, man, starts battling with your brother and whatnot, takes your brother, throws him over to try and do similarly to get him outside. They're not really high thinking. They just see and do. Tries to throw him outside and ends up crashing him straight into the other scarecrow, knocking it off of Zestrin momentarily as both scarecrows crash to the ground. I just kind of gave you a free action. Doesn't cost you anything, Torstein, as it failed really badly, this scarecrow trying to attack you. Benren, your brother, is just in the door. In fact, for shits and giggles, and I know you'll hate me for it, Benren, but I love you. As he throws this thing, it bashes into this other scarecrow. Just as Benren comes in the doorway, bam, he gets hit by these 2 scarecrows, knocking him back out of the doorway on top of Leroy, who he was just jumping off of. But one of the scarecrows rolls away and gets crushed under a wheel of the machine. So, Benren, you're on top of Leroy, a scarecrow on top of you. But hey, Zestrin and Torstein, you're in an empty cockpit for the moment. As behind you, the lightning gets changed into fire. And Benren, you're the only one that can see it. But the fire isn't raining from the sky. It's coming out from the orb. And you see Granny get thrown through the air 30 yards before she crashes into a tree, falling down right next to the Luxodon that you had animated before. And you just catch out of the corner of your eye that the Luxodon, who had its back cracked, actually wasn't fully incapacitated yet. It just couldn't get up to walk. With Granny right there, it continues its attack, rolls over its front body and starts beating on Granny. What do you do top of the round, Torstein? Oh, wait, nope. I skipped Benry. Hold on, Benry gets his response.
Door?
Yep.
Stop. Benry.
So I'm on top of Leroy. The scarecrow's on me. I see this. I'm going to throw the scarecrow and let Leroy carry me into the war machine.
So, like your brother, go ahead and make a strength to try and throw the scarecrow. And basically, you're wrestling with it is what it comes down to. We know what you're trying to do theme-wise, but we throw some dice in there just to see how the wrestling turns out. If you roll high enough versus his just base strength, I'm not rolling for him.
Is
You just
that?
roll over
Oh,
it.
so
and
that's
you're gonna be
just
successful.
straight strength.
Yeah, you get to add
Okay.
your bonus to it. Yep.
Oh, for fuck's sakes!
You wrestle with this thing, and as you do, you try throwing it, and the scarecrow, which is made from wood and other things, the twigs rip in around your armor, and you throw it, and it grabs your shoulder, and you've thrown the weight of it, which acts like a momentum, jerking your shoulder over, forcing you to roll off of Leroy, who's running after, trying to get up into this vehicle, and Leroy does this kind of hopping dog thing, trying to get up inside, and you fall off and roll away, but you manage to avoid the wheels, and you don't get crushed. You and the Scarecrow
Hey,
are
that's
left
good.
behind as Zestrin and Torstein inside. Zestrin, you're still somewhat in the controls. Machine's looking pretty beat. And you notice the soul energy hasn't really dropped, but the gauge is flickering, almost like there's bad connections or something. Whatever it is, it's not good. Torstein, you're top of the round, and then we'll be cutting over to Zestrin after you.
All right, I'm stepping to the door to assist getting Leroy, and if my brother ever gets to the doorway, into the machine.
As you go and reach down, you start pulling Leroy up and in when he does this little bunny hop. You see that your brother is wrestling with a Scarecrow, getting left in the back as the machine slowly rolls forward. Luckily, Zestron hasn't launched this thing forward, but it's rolling forward at an idling speed of about 35 to 40 feet a second, or per round, 6 seconds. You know, so it's going faster than you would walk or anything like that, but it's not at a full-out dash. You figure your brother probably could run and catch up to you as long as Zestron doesn't speed it up. You manage to get Leroy up and inside, but it's not like there's a whole lot of room. This is a cockpit. We talked about this before. You barely get him inside of this thing. You're like jammed in, trying to get on top of him. You're wedging through. It's like going through those broken rocks in the corridor. Zestron, he's in next to you. Leroy's in. Door's still open. What do you do?
I get myself back into the controls and uh, look back to see if we have everyone, noticing that we are missing somebody. I yell, "Get your brother in here now. We need to go. Then get up on the roof because I can't see."
Turn the thing around.
Thorstein pulls his whip out and is waiting for Benron to get within 10 feet.
So he's standing somewhat wedged on top of Leroy, hanging out the doorway, whip in hand. Benron, you're tumbling around with this other Scarecrow, but you get to act first, and then I'll have the Scarecrow respond with its attack on you as you wrestle on the ground.
So we're grappled.
You can try to separate from him. No, technically he doesn't have a grapple on you. He hasn't turned you to 0, but you are in the prone position because you rolled off the top of this when you threw him. So half your movement to get up. Go right ahead. You'll trigger an
Okay, so
opportunity
I'm gonna
attack as you go away from him.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and get up, and as I do, kick him off me so I can run.
Not a problem, man. Half your movement to get up. So 25, you use up whatever it is, 12, 15 feet. You get to your feet,
Yeah.
start hauling butt away, and as you do, the Scarecrow lashes out, trying to grab at your leg. What's your AC? I have you down as an AC
16.
16, right? Yep.
Yep.
But you are quick, man. You get over it. He just scrapes along your leg, but no, man, you're not letting anything stop you as you get up and go right into your dash action, hauling butt as fast as you can. And again, with your dash, even the 10 feet left over, you're faster than the machine, which is only going 30 to 40. You start picking up speed, going after this thing. The Scarecrow, in the meantime, go ahead, Benron.
How long do the boots of swiftness or whatever they were last?
Those were like 3 rounds, I think. That's all you get.
Yeah, I think
Okay. I'm sorry. I thought they were like an hour or so. Okay.
Oh no, yeah, no. It's the whole idea is that they, basically
Yeah.
they're.
Fuel it and then you go.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that was great. I love it. I love questions. So you haul butt after this thing, shaking butt, and the Scarecrow gets up and with its longer legs starts closing the distance. Brock, you see them coming closer. Zestrin's yelling at you from inside. You've got one chance at this whip. In fact, you don't even have to roll because your whip automatically hits whatever you're thinking of, doesn't it? As long as it's in range.
Also, his speed only lasted 3 rounds, but he has a +5 to his initiative till the end of combat.
Cool. Very cool.
I think I still would have been bottom anyways.
You would have been, but the 3 becomes a 13, so you move up a bunch of empty slots. I moved you up. It's nice, but I like that because Brock is always use your stats, always use that. Know your character. A moment later, where do you attach the whip to on him?
His waist.
Bam! You go out and you see this thing streaking right at your crotch, Benren, and a moment later you feel this sickly wet slap right on your belly. Poof. You're running along when your brother jerks back on this thing, and you're like, ah! You're being pulled by your tummy forward as he jerks you in, your feet barely catching the ground as he pulls you in. Zestrin, you see Torstein, who's wedged on top of Leroy, get his brother the thing, and he can't even get his brother fully in the door because this massive piece of luggage is there, but they're somewhat in. He's got him. What do you want to do, Zestrin?
I yell, someone, I look and make sure that the forward display is done and I can't see anything. And I yell, get up there and tell me where the path is because I can't see. And I start push it forward to go faster, but not breakneck speed.
You've barely gotten in, Benren, when Zestrin's yelling commands and whatnot, and you realize why. Because Benren, while you were running along and Torstein was looking back to the back of the vehicle where you were running to catch up, you saw the vehicle was heading right into the trees. It's like he's about to crash. So you know exactly what he's talking about as your brother pulls you in, he's wedged on top of it, and you have an opportunity to try and squirm over your brother and get to the top and be Zestrin's eyes because your brother's looking still wounded, bleeding, whatever, black and blue. Describe it however you want.
I'm gonna try and do that. Try and climb, whether it's climb through my brother or climb on the outside to get on top of the turret.
A moment later, Benren becomes the eyes for Zestrin as Benren yells out, "There's trees right in front of you, Benren. How do you want to tell him?"
I'm gonna yell, "Turn! There's trees straight ahead! Turn around!"
I try and spin to see what kind of control I have left of this thing.
Do I see the path?
It's disadvantage. It is. It's about 20 yards to your left. And as he grabs this Zestrin, which way did you spin it, left or right?
I spun it to the left.
Bam! You launched into this thing with its tank treads, and as you do, it forces Torstein as you turn to the left because the door was on the left side of the vehicle. Bam! You slam this thing turning left. All his momentum carrying him forward comes crashing to the side as Leroy pops in the rest of the way, bringing Torstein, his butt almost on your face as Benren yells to you directions. Moments later, he's yelling, "Forward, forward!" You have a chance to gun this thing or just go at a regular speed. What would you like to do, Zestrin?
I'm going to gun it.
A moment later, full tilt, he guns this thing. Flame bursts out of the sides. The door is still open on the side, by the way. Flame roars out. Benren, you see it come out these gigantic exhaust pipes to your left and your right. The machine screams. The front end lifts off the ground, and the giant, now you're seeing it from the outside for the first time, Benren. As the machine lifts up, the lower part of the front end opens up like jaws as this thing runs forward on its hind, what we would say wheels, but looking like hind legs as this monstrosity arcs forward. And instead of having a round or two, 10 or 12, 15 seconds to get to the path, you're there the very next moment. You're like, oh my God, you're going so fast. And somehow Zestrin has to turn this, but he doesn't know when. What do you do, Benren?
Me, when I see the flames, I look at him and I'm like, I felt that! That hurt! And I tell him which way to go. I'm gonna try and guide him as best as possible out of there.
With Benren helping Zestrin, moments later you go crashing onto the path. You catch some trees along the way as you learn to yell back and forth. Torstein echoing some of his brother's commands from up top. You make your way up the path back towards where Baba Lysaga's hut is crashed. Bouncing off trees here, scratching some of the metal there, knocking things over. Your war machine, which started with a total of 86 points from the various coming down the path previously, and now the damage this time is down to 43 points. Machine's fairly beat up, but you know what? It's still got a lot of life. It's a war machine. And you get further up the path, and you've rocketed up towards Baba Lysaga's. And Benren, as you get up towards the top of the path, you realize you're rocketing towards a chasm. You're up high enough. You're coming down on the house, of course. You're thinking, all right, well, we're going to slow down. We're going to slow down. And then you realize, yeah, Zestrin can't see this coming. He doesn't even realize. You have a choice. There's an upward spot to your left, and maybe you could do a Dukes of Hazzard jump. Or you could tell him just to bring it all to a straight up halt, losing all your momentum, but not going over the edge of the cliff. Or you could try for a breakneck turn to the right and try and go back down the mountain along the original path. Not the one that you followed now, but the original path that you came up here. Each one has its advantages. So make a jump, Dukes of Hazzard on the left, come to a breakneck halt but lose all momentum, or try and turn around and pull a Yui to go back down the main path that you came up here, which might throw your brother out the door.
Just so I'm clear, is it level on the other side, or is it like a mountain, or what? I mean, is it just basically there's just the cavern?
You guys, between the tree and the war machine, you ripped through a lot of trees coming up here, so you believe the war machine can continue to rip through stuff. But it's not as forested as where you leave, because you're heading towards the tree line where the timber thins out. Because you come pretty far.
I'm gonna tell him, I'm gonna say screw it, gun it, and let's jump it.
Zester, you've been hauling up
what's
here.
Going on, so
You knew from when you were working on this machine, one of the controls, that you had seen connected to one of your abilities was this Hellfire Uprising, and you know it's somehow wired into the controls for a boost. You've already done this once. You've had launches. Do you wish to use that control energy and try and use it now? Or would you try to save it for later?
going to use it now. I want to try and get us away from what's happening as fast as possible and get as much distance before this war machine finally gives up.
We are making a group check between Benren's description on where to turn and Zestrin's control. So I would like each of you to use your intelligence as a base check. So you're making an intelligence roll. This is Benren's description of when to turn and where, and Zestrin anticipating.
Oh shit! Oh,
Wow. As Benren commands you exactly on where to go. Oh yeah, no, turn now. Wait, not that way. Turn more to the right. And Zestra's down there like launching this thing. It hits the thing, guns, and you guys are just getting towards that ramp, and Benren has told you to turn at the last second. Only part of the front two wheels go on it. When Zestrin hits the gas and the left two wheels hit it, and the whole thing goes up into the air over this 20-foot wide chasm, but spinning to the right over and over, and suddenly Torstein finds himself weightless in the air, floating. Luckily, Zestrin is strapped in, and then he goes upside down as Leroy is above him, and the thing continues to arc side to side, spinning end over end. Benren, you're up top, so I need you to make a dex save to not fall out of this halfway over the cavern. You do have the gun to hold on to, so, you know, and we'll make it a nice low DC of 10. But you should be okay. So you're good.
You said,
Yep, it was a 10. So literally, you know, it's like, bam, all you had to do is hang on to the gun and like, you know, woo, you start falling out, but you're holding on to this fear cannon as it rolls over and over. And Zestrin, I'm going to let you make the roll. You get to make a dexterity. If you can either choose a dexterity save or a dexterity check. So if you have advantage on saves, it might be better for you, but you can choose whichever one you want to try and land this thing somewhat and save the vehicle.
I am going to do a dexterity save and use my special ability, Dark One's Luck, to where I can add a D10 to an ability check or saving throw.
I will make
Nice.
this a tiered thing. So depending on how well you roll versus the DC that I've set to try and land it, which is obviously hard because you're spinning end over end. But depending on how well you land it, man, will determine the outcome. Torstein wants to add something to this, though. So Torstein, what do you got?
I was just going to say that both Benrin and Torstein had a health potion bought for them.
Okay, I will put those right on there right now. Benren, it's a healing potion.
We might need them.
And then
Yeah. I feel like this could be a little rough.
Torstein has a healing potion. Okay. So 2d4s, and Zestron still has his d6 healing potion waiting. Really, it's just Torstein that's like the most. You land wrong, man. Everybody could take some serious damage here. And depending on if you land totally upside down, he's going to take the weight of a chest filled partially with treasure.
I'm going to use my foresight.
And you're using your foresight to roll it again. You got it. Great use of foresight by John.
And I got the same damn thing. All right, now the D10.
We're going to have fun. Re-roll that because we're not allowing the same number to be rolled twice. Oh, wait. I see you have to add a D10 to it.
Yeah.
I still like my answer. Re-roll that 7. I don't want to see a 7 again. I'm bored. I've already seen a 7 this morning. Go
Roll a
lower or
3.
go
There
higher.
we go.
23
Roll 3.
23 plus. Oh, yeah. It's 23 with the 2. Right. With the D10 re-rolled. As, he brings it over, and as he does, Zestron at the last second, he feels the weightlessness, not knowing exactly where the ground is, but hearing Benred's little girl scream as he's upside down. Zestron just kind of relies on his bond with his patron and says, you know what? I asked you for help, Paxtra. And as he goes to gun the controls, you hear this whisper, and you shall have it. Bam! As you push this forward, you launch the controls, and the energy screams out of one side as it's spinning over, blasting it back, all the exhaust on the one side to straighten it out. Just as the machine crashes down into some trees and some shrubs, comes ripping out on the other side on all fours. The machine idles with still 25% left. No one takes any damage. 23 needs to be honored, man. That was an epic, epic, epic roll. You guys peel this out. In the distance, Benren, still hanging on to the thing for his dear life, can see lightning and other things coming down. You can see bird-like creatures coming in over the combat zone beyond the ravine. What does the party do?
Well, let's get out of here and find somewhere to recover. Like, let's get away from here. As far as we
And
can.
I'm going to do it at a much calmer pace now that we're back on all 4 wheels and not flying through the air. And we're going to take our time and do this since we're away from the immediate danger
And
at the moment.
while we're doing that, I don't know how long it's going to take us to get anywhere. I'm going to try and heal us. Nope. I'm going to start to try and heal us up, but then I'm going to remember that we can't heal regularly. So I'm just going to be like, hey, guys, we have to find somewhere. We are hurting bad. We have to go to, is it Valaki? Or, yeah, is that dome fort that
Valaki is back down the mountain on the other side of the ravine that you
It's
just
on the other
crossed.
side? Okay. Yeah.
So you'd have to
Okay.
go all the way
We ain't
back
gonna make
down.
the jump again, bud.
No, we need to find someplace like that, though.
With Zestron at the controls, you guys start heading out. As you do, you start traveling along these mountain paths, making mountain paths, really. As at different times, Zestron uses the controls of this machine, and it growls and it rumbles and spikes come out to cross very difficult terrain. It's about a day later, your stomach's hungry, you're tired, you've tried sleeping inside, that this exhausted tiefling from controlling this big machine claims that he's found a road. He's not wrong. When Benren and Torstein look at it, it's old. It appears at one point to have been a very sturdily built road, but now it's mostly washed out by dirt. But there's no mistaking that this was etched into the side of the mountain. It clearly follows the mountain trail either back down towards the valleys, the cities, and from this vantage point, under this cloudy, overcast sky with mist in the distance, you can see much of the landscape, including the castle far off, many miles away, almost supernaturally standing out amidst the mists, reminding you of this magical place that you're in. It wants to be noticed. It's a dark, if you will, a dark lighthouse standing out from the midst. But somewhere to the north is Vallaki. To the south, the road continues on around the edge of this. What are your priorities? What are you thinking? What are you here for? That's both a player and a character question.
Priorities is heals.
Yeah.
Rest.
One of the things that you've already found from being in Vallaki is that even rest doesn't provide the healing and the recovery in this twisted land.
Yeah.
Vallaki helped you, but it took so much longer. This stagnant place of magic that you're in, the Shadowfell, doesn't allow for that, at least this portion of it.
You said Valaki's to the north?
Yes. Currently we're to the south. If you let me see if I have one of those maps available that I could put in there. I used to have Name Shore Hut. Where is it? Where's my Dragon's Estrade?
I say we head to the castle. Maybe we can find somebody to get a teleport to get the hell out of here. Or we die. Don't know what's there.
What castle are we looking at?
It would be the castle, the only one that's been described to you since getting to this land, when you talked about possibly going and seeing the ruler.
Argans?
There is only one in all of Barovia.
Argans Vostolt? Is that the one?
No, that is
no, Argynvost was a silver paladin.
Yep. So, this map really doesn't even keep hitting the whole thing, but properties. Alrighty, cancel dash. I used to have a way on here to put up pictures. Where was it? There, there it is. Map temp. Boom. Browse.
I do know the abbey is to the west of Vallaki.
We got this. Games and images. And there we go. All right. I am putting up the map on the Twitch. And now I remember that I had said last week that we were talking about actually putting on thing. So the map on Twitch will help you understand the layout, the basic layout of the land that you're in. Because remember, you actually have a map. And this is kind of what it would be like to help you out. So when you look at it, you are actually on the south in those mountains. You've just come up right in the middle of the map. You'll see a windmill. When you go south, you see some water, some rivers, some trees to the right, and then there's like a steep mountain range in there. You are up in that mountains, and then you started to the left, and basically you've gotten towards that, what looks like a road going all the way down. So
we're
and this is not a 100% accurate map. This is a
leading from the west gate going down.
West gate. Oh yeah. You came from the right, you left Vallaki on the right, then you twisted down, and what you don't see on this map was where you started going to Herrick. Again, this map isn't 100% accurate in the truest sense of the word. This is one person's rendition of it. Mine's a little bit different, but that's all right. This is what you were given from them. So yeah, you've come to a road, and again, it appears to go further to the south, or you can try and go all the way back towards the north along the road. Zestrin with, because you had a quarter after making that wonderful jump and getting through all that, and you've been traveling for about a day, but you haven't been using a whole lot of the powers of the machine, which is why you were able to, take it along. So you still got about a quarter of a tank left. So really the choice
Thorstein recommends going to either the castle or to Barovia.
I'm with you. Let's just go to the castle. There's got to be something there.
Fine with that as long as it gets us closer to getting out of here with the book.
You guys have spent the night because you said the priority was trying to rest. You've cooked some of the food that you've brought with you because you made sure to bring food, water, the other things. You've had a chance to look at Leroy. And one of the things that you noticed as you tried to use your mending cantrip and whatnot was that similar to your own bodies, there's no really repairing him. You knit the wood together and just moments later it separates back apart again. Just like as much as you've done for your brother, after even the night's rest, he's still got all the dark pools, the bruising on his body. It just seems to have sunk in. He's just as tired. He's still at that, just a couple hit points. Our D4 magic potions are an exception to the rule and whatnot, but there's no natural healing here. There's no magical healing to even replace it. Once it's gone, it's gone. To that end, you're struggling with this whole idea, but the party determines as the dawn comes up in the cold and the chill, and you see that same massive bird that once attacked you at Baba Lysaga is flying above the mountains back to the east over your shoulder, that you're going to head to the north. You guys jump into the vehicle, start heading down, and about halfway through the day you come to a bridge. The bridge is made of wood. You stop to examine it, and Torstein is able to make a determination about it. Torstein, go ahead and give me an investigation roll. Let's see how well you do.
All right. Let's see how we do. 18.
Beautiful. Benren, what's your question?
That'd be a disadvantage because we still have exhaustion.
Thank you. Plot points. Everybody's at 3 plot points right now. You just rounded it out, Benren.
That would be a 3.
So, just as confident as he was about to say a moment ago, Benren is sure, or excuse me, Torstein is positive that upon looking at this, while it is made of wood, and while a dwarf properly would have made this of stone, it'll be able to hold the weight of the infernal war machine. Shouldn't be an issue. So it's basically just pile in and get going.
Vroom, vroom.
But he reiterates he knows more about stone than he does wood.
That's more than I know.
But my brother don't know shit.
What is your intelligence now? Is that a
my intelligence is -3. Oh no, I'm sorry, it's 4. I'm at a -3. Yeah, it's a 4. It's a nice staring at me 4.
Wow, dude.
Oh, it was a before I got the magic card from,
Wow.
The opposite of all of Torstein's freaking luck.
Hey, we need to start taking up a collection again for the next deck of things.
So as you guys pile into it, and Torstein explains this, Zestrin chooses to, again with Benren up top, telling him, yeah, nudge it forward, this, that, and the other thing, and it's a fairly tight fit. This isn't built for infernal war machines. It's built for a horse and a carriage. And as the wheels start going along, it scrapes the 2 main uh, stone pillars on either side, and as you go over it, you start to hear the wood creak. It begins to flex this bowed bridge, coming down as it pushes
Better
out.
pick up the
Um,
pace.
and as you're going over it, you start to hear this snap, snap, because the metal is just crunching into the wood underneath it. But Benren's got you good directions. He's telling you, this, that, and the other thing.
Go
When
that way.
Torstein yells out, punch it. How do you want to respond, Zestrin? This is really you're the driver here. They're giving you advice.
I I can't see, so I have to go by what they say, so I punch it.
So Torstein, who's inside with you, yells, punch it. Benren, anything you're saying?
Go that way. Keep going. We got to get across this bridge. It's about to break. My brother didn't know crap about wood.
So Zestrin, how much of a punch do you want to give it? Do you want to use the your launch forward, which uses up some gas? I mean, you've only got a quarter tank left. You might be sacrificing getting back to any land of civilization.
No, I'm not going to totally floor it, but I'm going to,
Accelerate.
or I'm not going
Okay.
to do the launch, but I am going to push it forward to increase speed.
You got it. No
The speed.
afterburners, no hellfire lift, no where you put two hands and lift up the front end, no gunning it. But you're like, okay, man, you go. And as you do, those metallic wheels start aiming towards top, and all of a sudden you hear boom, crack, snap. And as Zestrin increases it, you start going downhill, in part going down because the middle of the bridge begins to collapse. So just as your nose gets over the top, the rear end goes out and Benren floors it, and you just clear the other side as most of the bridge collapses in, falling towards each other, making it basically a death trap for anybody who goes at this, as all the supports are out now. The wood is mostly collapsed over itself, but Torstein is proven correct in the fact that you made it across the bridge.
I'm looking at it. I'm yelling down. Nobody's following us that way.
Nice.
That's good
Killed
news
two
anyway.
birds with one stone, or one wood bridge.
Let's not
It's
try that
getting
again on Woodbridge.
towards evening. You're getting ready to stop again for fuel, and Zestrin, you've been watching that pretty close. Your soul meter, it's running dangerously close, but you're not on empty yet. And you've started heading back into some hills that Benren from up top keeps getting distracted by as he's looking at them. They remind him a little bit of home. But what Benren hasn't told you is that he's also been able to notice some things moving in the hills. Benren, go ahead and make a perception roll for me.
And perception. I don't think I can get worse than a. Well, I can't get worse than a 1. Oh, wow. Twice. 4. Each one.
Wow, brother, man, we're getting a lot of doubles tonight.
Yeah, I
Benren,
guess my disadvantage didn't want to be disadvantaged.
you've been watching, and you're certain that as you're approaching these hills, not only does it look like a supreme ambush spot coming up ahead, and you pulled off for dinner just before you get into the hills, but as you were passing by some forest, you saw some things moving in there. And now, as the party has settled outside the machine, which continues to hum, there is no true off switch unless the soul is fully empty, but it's idling quietly. You are fairly certain that some of those shadows that you saw in the trees are in the distance moving out around you. The other
I'm going to tell
party,
my
as of
brother.
yet, seems unaware.
Yeah, I'm going to tell my brother and Zestrin, hey, I think somebody's out there, maybe watching us or preparing to attack us. I'm not sure, but there's definitely somebody out there.
Perhaps we should sleep inside the machine tonight then.
They're this close. I'm not sure we want to sleep right now. We can either try and bypass them or charge through with what energy we have left in this thing. That'll risk getting us stuck in the middle of them.
We can't get in another fight.
So crashing inside the machine tonight?
Yes.
You guys hunker down. You have a perfect shelter. It's steel. It locks. Nothing should be able to come in and get you. During the night, halfway through it, some of you awaken, whoever you want, to the howls of wolves in the distance. If you choose not to awaken, it gives you bad dreams. At one point, for anybody that has chosen to awaken, I would like you to make a perception roll.
Oh, I would have woken up because, I'm an idiot. Perception and disadvantage. Yeah.
Torstein has a 21.
Oh, yeah, I got a 4
Nice.
again.
So all of you have woken up because I saw all of you have rolled. And as you hear the wolves coming, it's Torstein that had heard, you'd all heard what you thought was maybe a crime, but Torstein realizes it's a single voice shouting. The wolves are chasing somebody down not too far away because it's a pretty heavy machine and it's idling, and you heard this over it. You figure that maybe whoever it was came for the embers of your fire and the wolves have closed in outside. So it's your opportunity to either get away or to ignore it and enter combat, or just kind of close your ears and ignore it till morning. Your choice. You don't know what's outside because, as Estrin said, you've got no external eyes. You could open the hatch to the top too and stick your head out that way, opening yourself up to whatever's out there. Right now, you guys are trapped in, nice and secure.
Can we use the barrel of the gun to spin around and take a look?
If you go outside, yeah, because the
Oh,
only
you
way
gotta
to
go
access
outside to
it
get
is,
Yeah, you're going to
Yep.
be in a gunner.
Yeah.
yep, it's an external up top gun.
Ben
Yeah,
would
it's not
just
a
kind of just
periscope.
be like, oh, he'd try and lay back down. Just be like, hoping that he's not going to go back to sleep, but, he can't. But he's not going to peek out. He's just going to lay there and kind of hope nothing comes in.
And you too.
Torstein's not opening the door.
I'm not
That's
opening
true.
the door either.
You guys,
I'm going to move back to the command chair, but not really strap myself in.
I'll be back in a
Mhm.
second.
It's a good spot to try and sleep too, as it's contoured for an almost lay down position as Zestrin sets himself in, ready to act should it be required. Meantime, Benren covers his ears up, trying to cover himself with his cloak that he's rolled up, and Torstein just checks all the hatches and made sure it's closed. It goes on for about another 20, 30 minutes that you hear this. At one point or two, you hear some deep scratching at the sides of the machine, and you hear claws as whatever it is walking over the top. At some point, you hear a ripping sound as claws try to open up the hatch on the top. And one of the most interesting things is that at one point, the turn handle that moves, but because Torstein had secured everything, he had wedged it closed, and it bangs back and forth as something tries to open the top hatch. There's howling for a little bit longer, which lasts for about an hour before it finally ends. Come morning, nothing's gotten in. You've stayed safe and secure throughout the night, but it's time to move. Do you want to make breakfast first outside and get some food on your stomach, or are you guys just going to try and eat some rations in here and then use your tank to go north?
Before I go outside, if I did go outside, I'd kind of like peek to see if anything's out there.
Nobody's gone outside. We've just made it through the night.
Now I
Yeah.
say we just get where we're going.
We're not eating. Yeah. Okay. We're just leaving.
Well,
You
good
choose to go through the whole the iron rations. You use your rations and whatnot, and slowly take off, entering the road, never hearing the sickening pop of the individual who had hidden beneath your vehicle as you turn away. It makes no difference to this machine, which is used to rending bodies and running things over. You get back on the road and start chugging along up through the hills that Benren was concerned about. Now, Benren, of course, has to go outside in the respect to give directions to Zestran. So he's up top yelling directions back and forth as you basically idle this along to try and keep the soul energy as long as you can. And because Zestran's been very good about using it, he extends that eighth of a tank as far as he can, and you've left the hills, no ambush ever coming that Benren feared, and come down towards what looked to be some once cultivated lands, reminding you a little bit of where you first met the witch with the overgrown fields that the scarecrows were in, only there are no scarecrows here. Instead, you see row upon row of turned over earth, but nothing growing in it. Here and there are one or two scarecrows, but nothing like the amount that you saw previously. And Benren, as you look out, you notice that there are some people working the fields in the distance. You see some small houses. The people see this gigantic metal monster drawing close with all the noise that it makes. Again, picture a tank moving. And many of them run back into their house. One looks like a female, does not. She actually goes over, stands behind trying to blend in with a scarecrow while you're on this road traveling by. Anything you want to do?
I'm gonna relay to them down there that we have people in houses, and they went inside. So I'm gonna relay it to them and see if they decide if we should stop or just keep going. I'm gonna tell them we got people, houses. There's fields, but it doesn't look like anything's growing.
I say we keep going.
Should we ask for directions? See if someone will freaking tell us anything? I mean, we're just driving blindly, pretty much heading to the castle, but we need to find a spot. Should we ask them if they know anything about the castle before we get there?
Sure, jump out, go ask them.
As stupid as I am, I'm not doing that.
You're
Forward.
still talking about it. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm just gonna tell them, just keep going. Forward. Keep going.
You guys are still chatting about it when Zestra yells down to keep going, giving the directions. He waves to the young girl, who sheepishly looks out from behind it, terrified at this metal dragon that rumbles by, later telling her parents that one of the creatures the dragon had eaten was still reaching out one hand, calling for help from the top. She would tell her parents over dinner, her father beating her for lying so severely, as your own dragon that you're in rumbles forth back towards
Right
the
now, I
main
feel
roads. You get into the night, and you have a choice again. Is it time to stop? You haven't hit the main road, but you figure you're well over halfway back towards the main area. Because the roads have been smoother and you haven't been going through a mountain, you were able to get more out of the energy than you thought you'd be able to, Zestran. Push it through until it stops, or what?
Run or drive.
Yeah.
Let's go.
We'll just let this thing roll as far as we can.
You move this forward throughout the night. This time with Benren up top in the night, looking out. No reflective tape, nothing. I want you to go ahead, Benren, and make a
It's okay.
yeah, I'm like, because again, it's just to try and keep it on the road. We'll call it 3 intelligence saves.
Oh, intel saves. All right, so
Because
here
basically
we go.
intelligence is what you're gathering in.
Uh,
Not bad. Good.
oh,
Good.
yeah, right.
Good.
Hey, that one was a good one.
Not horrible. Twice
Finally.
during the night. The first time being the bad. You go off the road, kind of running into a ditch a little bit, but the machine doesn't stop over small things like ditches. It keeps going. The second time, when Benren misses where it is in the dark, again, there's only so much they can see because there's not even starlight to guide you. Remember, the sky itself is constant overcast of clouds. In the night, Benren thinks he sees something run in front of the vehicle, a living creature, and still feeling bad about that girl earlier that he left behind. He gives a command to Zestran, who in his tired state jerks the wheel, goes off, and you run into a mire. It almost gets the vehicle stuck, and you realize the most deadly thing for this vehicle is actually soft earth. There's nothing really to help it get out, but with a little more work, you do. That's where your third check comes in. Benren's able to see some hard ground, gives Zestran some directions, and together they pull it back up. But it uses the last of the remaining energy, and in the middle of the night, the fires of the machine, the soul has burned its last. And the machine comes to an abrupt, grinding halt, throwing you all forward, the coins inside Leroy jingling. At this point, you have to go it on foot. Will you get out in the night, or will you wait here till morning?
Wait till daylight.
Wait till morning. Oh, this is where we're camping.
During the night, you hear more howling, more scratching, and you're certain this time that whatever those beasts are all around you. So, question to Torstein: did you actually secure the doors like you did last time? Like you had purposely said, "I'm going to get up and secure
Yeah, but
them."
we had never unsecured them, correct?
Yes, because Benren had to go up top to
The hatch.
view
I had to
and
go
give
up to the
directions.
hatch.
Yeah.
Then I might have secured them before he ever got back in.
I'm dumb, but I'm not that dumb.
Yeah, obviously, if we know there's all kinds of stuff trying to get in the nighttime, we're going to secure them.
Okay, so Torstein being his military self had made sure that everything was buttoned down. And for the second time, the top door is tried. And the side door is tried this time too. This time, though, there's a banging on the side of it. Not a knocking, but a banging. And you hear on the other side a growling, deep, husky, open up! Open up! As it bangs against it, thump, thump, crashing into the side.
Who are you?
I think he's gonna huff and puff and try and blow us over.
You call out, "Who are you?" There's a silence for a little while, some growling and snapping back and forth. And then the voice is somewhat softer this time as it replies to you. It says, "So you are in there. Are you trapped?"
No, we're waiting till morning.
"Don't be so foolish. If you wait until morning, you'll lose the cover of the night."
We have nothing to hide from.
The individual seems somewhat concerned. They pause and then says, "Only a fool wouldn't hide from the devil. Come out, there's friendship in numbers." Doesn't say safety, it says friendship.
What's your definition of friendship?
It says, "What do you mean, what's the definition? Friends help one another. We've come."
But you don't even know who we are.
Exactly. So come, join.
How about you come back for breakfast? We'll have proper introductions.
Go ahead and make a persuasion roll for me.
All right. One, of course. All right. And
Very nice. 19.
hold on. Nope, I got to roll twice. 17.
Oh,
Yeah,
hey.
17.
Good job. Good job, buddy.
You tell him that, and the individual says, "Very well. Breakfast it is." You hear some howling and some yapping, almost like snapping of dogs outside. Then there's a sharp cry, like one maybe has been bitten or injured. And then slowly the sounds quiet down. For the rest of the night, you hear nothing. You're guessing at when morning is because this thing doesn't have windows. There's no little peep hatches to look out. It's not airtight by any means, but it wasn't used to that. It uses the open doors on the side and things like that. Or, the same monitor that previously Zestrin would have used. But you figure it's probably morning time, or as close as this land gets to morning. You want to
Crack
head
the
outside?
hatch. Crack the hatch. It stinks in here.
It does. Good call,
Time to
Ben.
let it air out a bit.
Bunch of two sleeping dwarfs and a tiefling. The tiefling in the only spot,
Yeah.
and poor Leroy, who has to smell this all the time.
My brother farts in his sleep too, pretty foully. So
You open the top hatch, and
Don't take
the
the paint off.
cold, crisp morning comes in. You can feel the dew on your face as the morning moisture rolls around you and the mist comes in, almost like it's been trying to come in all night long. You go down outside into the early grays of morning. Look around, and as you examine around the vehicle, you see a plethora. And you've seen various animals before, but these must be dire wolves, if anything. Their footprints are easily 6 to 8 inches wide. They're huge. And I would like Torstein, Benren, and Zestron, if you like, to make you can either, if you're going to do all three of you do it, then it's one combined and we'll do the majority. But you're going to be making an survival roll to examine these tracks.
all right.
Ooh, nat 20.
20, 11, and a 2. Is that right?
Except mine would have been a 4.
There you go. So I have a 20, a
I
4,
can't get lower than
and
a
a
2,
2.
so there's no need for me to reroll.
Yep. So as you do, you look at these massive direwolf tracks and can only imagine the beasts that must stand like small horses that were around your vehicle last night. But now you're on foot. The vehicle can't go with you. You slowly get Leroy out, wedging him through the door and using your strength. Leroy moving and jingling with the sounds of all the money inside him.
And
May be lower.
Torstein starts up a fire, starts cooking breakfast because he's waiting for his friends to come back.
You have out the few rations and whatnot that you've bought. You've been eating again, 3 meals a day. Your water supplies may be starting to run a little bit low, but actually, considering you crossed that bridge, which was a river, let's say that you just naturally went and got some water and refilled what you had, and you're only a day and a half out. You wait and you wait. A half hour turns into an hour, turns into an hour and a half, and no one ever comes. Do you wish to
Great.
wait
We pack up
longer,
leftovers
maybe
and
towards
get
lunch? Benren?
Would I know from talking with the dead and finding out that Argon Vost, the Silver Paladin, was the leader of the army attacking the Titan, and we heard the wolves when they were attacking the Titan? Would I put that together to think that maybe that's who came in the night?
Sure, if you want. You can always connect those dots. That's up to the player and whatnot. You absolutely can do that.
I
Anything
I
given
I,
in game, that's for you.
I think even though as stupid as I am with my intelligence, I think I would have through the night been stewing on after the hearing the conversation, kind of, oh hey, we heard the wolves when they were attacking the Titan, and I know that Argon Voss was leading the army, so I would suspect that the wolves was Argon Voss.
Mm.
And I would tell my brother and Zestrin, hey, I have a strong feeling that I think maybe the guy that visited us last night was Argon Vost, who was attacking the Titan when we came through the gate, when we ran to Valaki. I don't know, though. I'm just speculating.
You willing to bet six health on that?
Well, no. 5, though. I have 5.
It takes a good bit as tourist time packs up before you hit the road again. Your journey along the road from here much slower now that you actually have to walk on your own. Follows a main road, and as you proceed further, the road becomes in much better shape. Along the entire journey, the grass on the sides has overgrown it. This isn't a well-traveled road. In fact, much like all the other places you've seen, it seems like the better days are far in the past. But these aren't even the beautiful war roads that were made throughout the time of Galifar, many of which were paved even for the movement of troops. These are old packed dirt roads, country roads. Finally, when you reach the north, you find the T section, and you know from your map and when you left that you've probably come out on the left side of, or the west side of Valaki. When you get there, at the T section of the roads, there are signs of what appears to be a recent battle in the night. There's a body in the road. It appears to have been savagely attacked, its robe ripped open, some of its belongings scattered to the side, a food pack ripped open, nothing left, its bags gone through. You notice that on the body, fresh as it is, bleeding, sore, does not appear to be alive at all. Do you wish to take some time to bury the body? Do you wish to carry it with you to Valaki? Or do you wish to ignore it altogether?
One question. I thought we were going towards the castle.
The castle's all the way to the east. You came out on the west, which is the road. So you followed that road on the west up.
On the west of Valaki or west of the castle? So we're in between Valaki and the castle?
No. You're in between Valaki and Krezki on the west.
Oh, okay. I was on the wrong side then.
Oh, that's me too. I thought we were over at the west gate. That's
yeah.
West gate of the castle? No. No.
Well, in between, I thought we came up in between Valaki and the castle.
Hmm.
Kind of skirted. I see. The black line is the road? The thick black line?
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, if you went Valaki straight down and then went to the left, you would hit a road and you'd see a bridge there crossing a river. Then you go up through those trees that I described where you stopped there. Then you went through those hills to the west. And as you started coming up, you hit those farm fields, yep. And then you got up to the T.
If we go, and if we go to the right, we go to Valaki. If we go to the left, we go to that other place. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. I'm tracking. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, then let's head to Valaki.
I
thought we were over by the castle. I was way off.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, no, that's why I was describing that the only reason you could see the castle in the distance, and it didn't make any sense, was because supernaturally, through magical powers, it wants to be seen. There is a magical essence to this area of the land that you're in, that it will make itself known. So as you head there, it's around almost dinner time by the time you make it there. And the whole time that you've been going along, you are fairly certain, nobody needs to make a survival roll, that things have been tracking you in the woods to the north. Different times you guys have looked over, things have stopped moving. Never do you catch a glimpse of anything solid. But sharing it amongst you, you are certain you have been tracked all the way to Valaki. It only stopped when you crossed the bridge and then started getting closer to the town itself. When you did, there's a familiar call. It's the gates. Recognizing your names, knowing who you are now, they let you in. Do you remember the name of the woman who met you the first time?
Oh,
who controls the western gate of Valaki?
Sarah.
Very good. So that's 2 plot points. We have people remember. Boom, boom.
But she wouldn't know Zestron, right?
And I would have,
Correct.
I would have my hood up to.
Well, she wouldn't know you anyways because
Yeah.
we met you with when you came roaring in that
Crash.
demon vehicle.
Yeah.
So we're
I'm
gonna
also trying to just.
we're gonna vouch for him. Be like, hey, this is our buddy. He's with us.
So what do your horns look like, Zestrin? I mean, are they able to be hid under a cloth? Do they curl around the sides? Do they stick up tall? Are they large, small?
They're about 6 inches long, and they curl from my forehead towards the back.
Okay. Cool.
So I
you-
can I have an oversized hood
Mhm.
I wear that kind of flops down and can not really conceal my face, but it has my face far enough back where someone has to really look to see what I look like. The only thing they normally see are the gold eyes when I have the hood up.
Mm. They ask for a name upon entry, but knowing you, they allow the entrance. They seemed for a little bit unfamiliar, almost like they'd forgotten you. You asked about the name, you mentioned Sarah, but soon enough your friends open the way and you're allowed in. Heading to a familiar inn, they bring you where they had rented rooms prior. The tavern keeper seems almost as vaguely reminiscent of them as the castle gate, or excuse me, of the palisade gates. Yeah, you rented here before? Okay. Yeah, here's the rates, same as before. There's not a lot going on. The town seems... There's no verve, there's no deep life. There's old flyers on the ground talking about serve well, prepare for the onslaught, Valaki, and the last stand we must defend. Many of these are littered thereabout all over the place. It's not the first time that Torstein and Benren have seen such flyers scattered about here. These ones are fresher. They talk about believing that there will be an onslaught, an assault, onslaught, onslaught. I don't know. Assault would be the word I'd use. They believe there will be an assault soon from the east, and that the armies will be marching with some terrible beast of war, they say. What are your thoughts? Is it just to hunker down here? Is it to just try to rest for the long term? Is it try to find help? Is it try to secure information?
I definitely want to try and find a way out of this freaking place. I'm gonna ask people if they know of any way out other than making the deal or the normal nonsense. See if I can speak to somebody that we haven't spoke to before to try and
strategically seek new people. You find out that there was recently some new individuals here who headed west towards the Abbey and Kresge. They talk about there was a man named Max who was leading them.
I say, Max, who else was with him? Do you know how many men he had?
They were like he was on his own, but the individuals that were already here that had come in was a small group of 3, 2 women and a half-orc.
About how long ago?
I said, well, when you described the fact that you guys were here just about a week ago, maybe a little longer, it might have been 8 days, but you were here just around a week ago. He says, they came in maybe 2 days after you were here. Max came from the east, the same direction that you had originally left, going towards the castle. They said Max came from that direction. But the visitors, and it takes them a while to find out, but they came from the west, the same way as you originally approached the castle. Approached Valaki.
This time,
That
right?
was at least no, both times
Yeah.
you came in through the west gate. That's
Okay.
how you met Sarah.
Yeah.
The first time you just happened to come through the woods, then you met the southern side of Lockheed, and then you chose to go to the west gate.
I want to talk to Sarah and ask her what she knows about the wolves.
Make a where is my character sheet? Yeah, 1 second. I'm gonna look at your character sheet. Boom. Yeah, it's the only one that I can think. I hate using it that much, though. Give me a wisdom check for me. It's not insight. It's not investigation. No, go ahead and make an insight check for me.
Well, that sucks because the wisdom shit would have been a 20. What is it? What do you want?
Well, that's fine because it's still wisdom. Insight is just your bonus. Insight is a wisdom check. So you can still use that number. It's just insight gives you a +6 to it, so it's a 26 you rolled. Does that make sense? Well, the first one was a 26, you're right. Yeah, it's a check, so. So your second one would be a 9 + 6 or a 15, which is still very good. You realize that as you're speaking to Sarah, similar to the others, she has a vague memory of you, which again, it's only been a week, but you realize, hey, like going into any city, people come, people go, but this isn't a city. There's not a lot of people here. And you would have thought helping out would have made a deeper impact on her. But instead, she seems pretty caught up on the fact that, she's missing somebody who's very important to her. And as you question her more, because you were questioning her about these other 3 individuals, right? That was your question?
No, he was asking about the wolves.
The wolves. As you question her more about the wolves, she talks about, in a very familiar fashion, how they're out there more and more in the night. And you realize, and this is where the insight roll comes in, much of this you've heard from her before. It's not quite as repetitive as the bartender who serves you, who couldn't remember that you were really staying here just over a week ago. So it's less pronounced. With her, it's more subtle. But it's almost like that broken record type thing. She's giving you all the same information, not realizing she's given it to you before, about the wolves that are outside, the individuals that help defend Vallaki, about the assaults that are coming, and they expect a great machine, which you already know to be this Titan, that will come and attack. And then she describes how it often comes and attacks every so many days.
So she's explaining that the wolves help them fight off the machine. Is that what? Am I understanding that correctly?
She says that the wolves will attack Vallaki, but she believes that the wolves also help to defend against the machine. And she describes it actually as if we were their prey, as one predator fighting off another predator. As she begins to describe this more and more, you get a strong sensation that something is amiss, like there's a time stop here. And it takes a lot to jog people's memory. One of the things that you had done before leaving was to give a very nice sword to this innkeeper. Call it an innkeep, call it a bartender, whatever you want. But he, of course, doesn't have it. He's running the thing. And Torstein happens to ask him about it. He has no recollection of it whatsoever. He says, what would I need with a sword? He says, if anything, I would have given it to the armory for others, to help those here to fight back. Benren, Torstein, Zestrin, you have rooms here. You can settle in for the night. And when we pick up next week, give me some concrete things. Do you want to try and follow more of this Mad Max? Do you want to try and follow more of this wolf thing? Do you want to try and get back out? and explore some of the things that you've written down. Like when I asked, where do you want to go earlier because you crossed the ravine, you have a whole lot for your characters, such as the tome. You guys wanted this tome so bad, but you've now spent days in the vehicle and nobody's talked about the tome. Is it that important? Where do you want to go? What are you searching for? Zestrin had certain things that he's supposed to be here looking for and doing. What is it that Benren and Torstein are looking for? How well do you know each other? What was with this guy that showed up? How important is Baba Lysaga? Or is it just from moment to moment we're looking for the excitement? And if so, what excitement can you bring into the town? All those are possibilities for next week when we pick up. I'm going to find out who we can go raid, and then we'll do our little after show. We'll break it down from there. So hang on 1 second. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, there's somebody who's only got one viewer. Let's go give them some love. I think that's good. We're going to go raid Praetor's Rejects, who appear to be streaming some D&D tonight. Oh, actually, no, they're doing Magic together. I don't want to do... They have listed D&D, but they're actually doing Magic, so I don't want to do Magic. Let's try D20 Deathmatch. Are they doing Magic or D&D tonight? Boom, boom, boom. Yes, they are. Okay, so we're going to go hit D20 Deathmatch. And let's go over there. So the internet, while working real well for the streaming, is a little slow, as I'm noticing when I'm clicking around. Boom. Yes, I'm live. I would like to just go and raid. Let me go and raid. Hello, let me go and raid. There's my little raid button. Thank you. And we'll go over there to D20 Deathmatch. Boom. Alrighty, so I'll give each of you a moment to say your goodbyes, and then we'll go over, get your raid tokens ready, and we'll go raid. I see that we got a D4 bonus going for Zestrin. I see a plot point going in for Torstein. I see foresight for Zestrin, so I've got some things that I'm going to have to add on to this in just one moment. So we'll do all that here in just one moment. But in the meantime, Benren, take it away, say your goodbyes, and pass it off.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Pretty epic episode. My brother survived, I survived, Zestrin survived. We're all in, we're in a tin can, and we made it back to Valaki. So let's see what happens next week, see where we go, what the story unfolds, and if we still survive, because we haven't healed. So yeah, we're pretty exciting to see. So tune in next week. John, go ahead, buddy.
Thanks everyone for watching. Definitely come back next week, see what's going on, and see what we can do to get ourselves out of this place and back to where we belong. Over to you, Torstein.
All righty. Thanks to everyone for tuning in tonight. Hope you enjoyed the episode. We probably we did as best we could to avoid confrontation tonight because we're all pretty much toast. So hopefully now that we're back in Valaki, we can find some way to kind of heal up, rest up, and get ready for a trek either over to Castle Ravenloft or up to the Abbey. I think one of those two is where we'll probably be heading next. So tune in next week and see if we're going left or going right. Go ahead, Sean.
I want to thank y'all for being here tonight. Had a great time. Episodes are always different. Your table's going to have up nights, super nights, great nights, slow nights. Up to you to judge how it is, but always up to you whether or not you choose to have a good time and look forward to the next time. I know I'm going to look forward to gaming with all of you again. From all of us at Plot Points Gaming, happy gaming. God bless. We'll see you next week. Join us now as we go over to raid D20 Deathmatch. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Oh, I like that. I forgot about my little countdown of 10 seconds, so I guess we're going to go over and raid in like 10 seconds, but that works for me. So more time to get your raid tokens ready. 3, 2, 1, raid. And pop in some raid tokens. Just let them know how loved they are.
Wow. Whatever.
There we go. So let me switch over our main camera scenes, pre and post show chat. All right, so kind of a quick breakdown. We are on time for our end of game, 3 o'clock my time, which is what, midnight for you guys? I don't know. What time is it out there where you're at?
10 after midnight.
Yep.
Cool. So not terribly late for you guys, which is good. So hit it hard. What did you like? What do you think we could work on or improve on?
Well, what did I like? I liked the fact that somehow we made it out alive. Health. I don't know where the restaurant was at, but I'm sure
21.
It wasn't too far off. So we didn't wipe, so that was a good thing. What can we work on? We got to find a way to daggone heal up. We need to work on something, healing up and getting the hell out of this place. That's what we need to work on. Go ahead, John.
All right. Things I liked. Definitely the Dukes of Hazzard jump. That amused me to no end. And somehow we pulled that off out of our asses.
23 is how you pulled that off.
Things didn't like. Wasn't really anything a dislike. This was one of those episodes where it was getting out of one bad situation and heading out, trying to get somewhere else. So wasn't going to be all hack and slash like the last episode was.
Mm-hmm.
James, go ahead.
Things I liked. I like the fact that just out of nowhere, this dude comes in and starts fighting with Granny and allows us to freaking escape. So I'm always down for that, especially when my brother's on death saves and I'm down to 6 points and, trying to avenge my brother because I'm pissed and raged and I still survived. So I really like that. Things we can work on. I think we need to work on as a group, figuring out the direction story, not really where to go. Like, hey, do we want to go to the castle? Do we want to go here? What are we thinking of doing? I know it comes down to just try and figure out, but we do pretty good most of the time. But it seems like now we've just made one big ass fucking circle around and we're back to freaking Velaki. And what did we get out of it? Nothing but lowering hit points, a damaged piece of luggage that looks like it went through TSA about 40 times. And now we are even hurting worse.
And a magic book.
I would say we got the mystery book.
Yeah, we got the fucking book. Yeah, that. But I mean, I loved it. I loved the whole. I mean, it was what the storyline was. I think you said we've been gone about a week, so it was about a week's worth of adventuring, and we got the magic book, but I don't know what it's for. At least my intelligence doesn't. If it was said before, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I just think we need to either decide we're gonna go one place and go there, or get the fuck out of Dodge. Like, we could have just totally straight, I think, went east or west and hopefully drove out of the area. But But yeah, I mean, I like it. I like that we're here. It's just finding heals and rest is ridiculous. We got to do something. But anyways, I'm done talking. Sean, up to you.
Okay. So what did I like? We did have a few epic moments. I tried to help them. I found it particularly funny when Benren allowed me to have fun with the scarecrows getting thrown out and him getting knocked back out the door. The popping scarecrows under the tire, the ignoring the guy who came to you in the night and he hid underneath, which is why the wolves were going all around. I really enjoyed a lot of the little things. I realized that was a lot of my storytelling, and I really don't want it to be my story. It's your story. To that end, what do I think we could work on? I would actually preface before I describe what I think we could work on with asking you a question, if I may. What did you, as players, share with us what you wrote for your I want to accomplish this tonight? Not what do you think of now, but what did you write down before we started and say, I want to do these 3 things? Okay. John says he didn't write anything. What'd you write, Brock?
Heal.
Heal? You had written heal? Okay.
Oh, you said heal? Oh.
Yeah, it was a little fuzzy. I don't know. His microphone fuzzed out, but so it wasn't just me.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
I was in death save, so I mean, there really wasn't a whole lot of healing. But that was the. I wanted to get somewhere and rest up and heal.
Mine was a question mark. That's what I wrote down.
A question mark. And what did the question mark represent to you?
I don't know where the hell this is going, and I don't know what I can want to accomplish or can accomplish. Because I was in the middle of all the scarecrows. Granny was right there. My brother was down. Zestrin's in a metal freaking coffin that avoids lightning, and he's up on the hill. And I was just like, I don't, this can go any way. Like, I was question mark. Like, I want to survive. I want to get out of the area. Is that going to happen? Is that not going to happen? That's where I was at.
So I say this because my table is always a teaching table and we're a teaching stream. So we teach one another. You teach me how to be a better dungeon master by telling me what you need. I try to teach you basic player dynamics so that you can have a better player, not just at this table, but in any game. Your responses, 0, I just wanted to heal, or I don't know where this is going, gave you actually exactly what you're all saying. Well, I don't want to say it was a bad episode, but I don't really know. We just kind of ended up going full circle. So what you're telling me, what I hear, if I can paraphrase, and you're welcome to say, wow, you're really off, Sean, is I hear we didn't really have a direction going into it. And then at the end of the game, I feel like we really didn't get anywhere because we entered with no direction and we kind of went in no direction. But we had a few epic moments along the way. But that also tells me that when I say, wow, we had a few things, but I felt like I was doing the storytelling because I had certain things planned in advance. Like, I'm curious, did you recognize who the person was that came in, the mysterious stranger? John, you wouldn't know who this is. But, Brock?
I mean, I recognize the name, if that's actually who it is.
Oh, it was.
Because
it absolutely
we were
was.
told that's who that was before, but that wasn't
I did?
who it was. So,
what do you mean? Wait, who did
so you tell me, did we recognize him?
What's that?
Your characters wouldn't. I'm asking you as players if you recognize the name.
As players, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's it. James is looking like maybe not. James, do you know who that was?
Well, I remember the name being mentioned before. I just can't place it. That's why I was like, Castamere. That sounds so familiar.
It should.
I can't place it.
What that is from, Castamere is from another module. And it happens to be the module that you and Brock played at Brock's house. Because you said as a group that you enjoy Easter eggs that tie in the other adventures and the other characters you've had. So when I had the week to think about it, and I was like, you unleashed this into the world. You changed the world. And I always try to tell you that what you unleash and change the world will go on even without you. So one of the things that they
Yeah.
changed was releasing this ancient wizard from the time that Galifar was founded. And I tried to give those Easter eggs when she's talking about, like, he's talking about Galifar and he's talking about this, and she's like, that's 1,000 years ago. So I was trying to drop lots of Easter eggs to give you guys joy and humor and like, oh my God, I know who this is. And then you could have shared with John and laughed and all that. I'm always trying to do that. Just like you picked it up at the end when you're like, wait, Max, is that this? Yes. As a DM, I am being that wonderfully shallow to be like, this is the same miracle Max you just heard about. Because I don't want to give you obscure references, then you can never put them together. What I'm trying to do is constantly give you reasons to take notes, reasons to say, I want to pursue that. Maybe you want to find out who Miracle Max is. Maybe you don't. You're like, but in doing that, you will drive your story forward. If you say, I want to know more about this, you can pursue it. If you had wanted to pursue killing Baba Lysaga, you absolutely could have tried. You know, doesn't mean you're going to be successful, but you would drive your story forward to the end or not on this. If John said, at this point, man, I love this infernal machine. My thing is I must find soul coins. I want to keep this as part of my story. Then he will find ways to draw that in. He will be like, he'll be asking people, you ever heard of a soul coin? Hey, here's what one looks like. Yeah, Souls of the Damned. And you will end up telling your DM, this is the story I want to explore. You might not even know it at the start of the game. But if you don't have that, you won't pursue that. Such as one of the things when I was like, or do you want to skid to a stop at Baba Lysaga's? I didn't spell it out, but part of the reason was there's a whole pile of treasure there
Magic
that you guys talked about earlier. And I was like, so I tried to give you 3 options, let you decide which one. But part of the reason I gave you one option to cross was, as we talked about earlier, the original idea meta was to go up into the mountains and find what's there and go in this direction. Yes, that was absolutely meta. No problem whatsoever. But because you didn't enter in, or either that you didn't think about it or didn't remember it, whatever, you ended up doing exactly what you described as, we started here, went down over here, came back through the mountains here, and just came back to here, and never got anywhere, even though you literally just spent all the points to cross and go in that direction. Just all this is to say that I think we will do better as a team if you walk in spending some time thinking about what do we want to do. When you and Brock talked at work numerous times, you came in, we're doing this, this is what's happening, I'm doing, and you drive the story forward. When John says, I know what's going on, like I was sweating his Paxtra thing this whole time, and I was like, bam. So even with like to hit the roll, like some of his rolls tonight, like flipping that thing over, the 23 wouldn't have even solved it. It was a 30, but he rolled a 23, and I'd given him a plus 10 because he called out to Paxtra, and I was like, so Paxtra didn't provide cast in mirror, and it wasn't going to be Paxtra showing up, but I was like, you know what? He did call upon her, and that releases certain elements in his contract as a warlock. So what's happening here? And I had, like, I was even doing subtle things as well as trying to be obvious in the respect of, like, Castamere, do you remember what he asked her for when he was chatting with her?
The staff, yeah, which I think was probably a hint to the one that was at the house.
Bingo, because I was like, it's not a he said it's a walking stick. So then, as a DM, I then guided your story. Okay, I've dropped a hint. You guys chose, we're leaving in this, we're not running off in the woods. So I was like, okay, and now give them an option to stop, not. But I don't want to railroad you. I don't want it to be my story and saying, all right, and you guys peel out here, and oh, there's a thing of treasure there. That sounds neat at first, but you will get bored with that. I guarantee it. You're like, I'm just waiting for the DM to tell me what to do next, and that's not a show you ever want to show up for. It's boring. It feels good for like the first 2 weeks because you're like, man, I'm getting all this treasure and stuff, and then you're like, yeah, but nothing I'm doing is ever working out. It's just the DM doing what he wants to do. Gag me with a spoon. I want you guys to have so much fun. So if we can do anything better, I would say come in prepared. I usually talk about knowing your spells, knowing your character, but most of all, my top thing is always know what you want to do. Because even if you don't know your spells, you can look during the game. Even if you don't know your character, you can refresh yourself just like I do with my notes right as the game is starting. But if you don't have a direction, the game usually feels directionless. What do you got, Brock?
I was going to say I tried to have a conversation about tonight's episode, but somebody didn't show up for work today, so
Oh, okay. Well,
Hey, there's a device now in the 21st century,
you're right that I'm not allowed to have it work.
but you drive home and you can do voice.
so Brock, did you show
We didn't
your
start
nifty
till
little
what,
gift
10
off
minutes
last
after?
week? Did we open that on last week's show, or
You
did we
guys,
open that separately? Oh, I didn't remember if we did that on.
no, we last
He
week
opened
right
our
at the beginning
stream.
of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been sitting here
So-
playing with it all night long.
Oh, were you? That I did not notice. I did not notice you playing with them all night. I was just like, ah. But
Yeah, I've been pulling them out individually and rolling them, and
I've said before, I'll say it again. If you guys have a favorite set of dice, I trust you as players. Again, I only like to have players at my table that I can trust because it's like I've given you the tools to cheat. You should be able to pad your things, especially with this Twitch stuff. I mean, my God, you can buy D4s and other stuff. You know, you can. John, great use of your foresight tonight, John. Really, I mean, just like that was like, oh, failed. Yep, I got foresight. Make it happen. Just use your stuff, man. Pad your rolls. Do whatever you want. I know we've got for plot points tonight. I've got 5, 6, 4, 10, 13 divided by 3 people. That's 4 apiece. So I'll be adding 4 plot points to each person tonight. And I think we're gonna make it. What we're gonna do is, if I can remember this next week, and let me write myself a note. +1 plot point to person with highest. With highest.
you got the ones we purchased, right?
I have not. Thank you. My chat, when it switched over to the other one, remember I had that way to go back and look at my chat. It did not let me go back to my chat. So why don't you guys read me what is there, and I'll add those in right now.
I don't have it up. My Twitter crashed.
I know. I think me and Benram both bought one at the end right before we shut down.
Okay, so
Yeah, you guys
that's
each
all
had
I
a plot
bought.
point.
wow, that is so weird. All right, I'm gonna end the stream because it won't let me access that.